I'm Patrick Lancaster, and unfortunately, as many of you know, a conservative influencer, activist, founder of Turning Point USC conservative student organization, Charlie Kirk, has been killed. And this is a horrible attack that's obviously aimed at reducing free speech and the will of the people, just like the attempted assassination of Donald Trump was. Yesterday, September 10th, at the Utah Valley University, over 3,000 students, and among others, were gathered to watch Charlie speak, and a single shot rang out, striking him in the neck. And I'm not going to show the video, but what appears to be that I've seen people die before it seemed that it took his life almost immediately. There were reports saying that first that he was killed, and then that he was being stabilized. Many news outlets said he was killed. Then Glenn Beck said he was being stabilized, and then he was announced deceased again. But regardless, that shot took his life. From different reports say the shooter was on a roof across the crowd from the stage, between, some reports say 20 feet, some say 20 yards, or excuse me, 200 feet, some say 200 yards. And Charlie was in this, under this tent, you can see in the video, and that bullet went into him. So it seems this was this shot was made by someone that knew that what they were doing. And right away, several videos came out, not only of the shooting, but and the scattering of people in fear, but also a man, I wouldn't say elderly, but kind of up there in age, that was arrested by police right after the shooting, right after Charlie was taken away to the hospital, and actually had his pants coming off, and people yelling at him. And there's a video showing what's being reported. It's not 100% clear in the video whether it was the police that said this or a bystander, but it's being reported as a police officer that said he shot him, but I don't know.
How dare you! You're a freaking monster! Yeah!
I don't know. He said he shot him, but I don't know, dude.
And then there's also a video of this same man saying, "I have the right to remain silent."
I have the right to remain silent.
And then later after this, Kash Patel came out saying that the subject in the shooting was in custody. And this comes right along the same time as President Trump was calling on the country to pray for Charlie. And Benjamin Netanyahu called on people to pray for Charlie. And then other political figures came out saying the search was on for the shooter.
But I want to make it crystal clear right now to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you. And we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah.
And this was at the same time that Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, said that the shooter or the subject of the shooting was in custody. And after this, Patel comes out and says that the shooter or the subject was released after interrogation. So it seems like the initial person they arrested, which they even released the name of, I won't say the name here because if he's innocent, I mean, it would be horrible if he somehow got targeted by the public for something he didn't do. But they said that he was a Democrat, and that, you know, they were already, even while he was being arrested, he was being screamed at. And it wasn't only him, but it's reported that at least 2 people were detained, interrogated, and subsequently released. The Utah governor, Spencer Cox, said that it was a political assassination, which I think we can all agree it was. This was an assassination by the left, just like the attempted assassinations on President Trump. Now, of course, not all Democrats want assassinations to happen, so we're not targeting all of the left or all of the Democrats, but there's a pattern here. We see a pattern. So, think about it. And once it became known that Charlie Kirk was dead, Donald Trump came out saying, "The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melina, and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you." Now, and it should be mentioned that it's my understanding that he had 2 children, 1 and 3 years old. And Charlie was only 31 years old. He started this student organization that he got so famous for when he was only 18. And even yesterday, the U.S. House of Representatives opened with a moment of silence for the session for Charlie Kirk.
The chair would ask that all members present in the chamber and those in the gallery please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family.
All right, and here we can see a map of the actual grounds of the university where it's shown that Charlie was under the tent at the red point of the map, and then across what's labeled as 200 yards on the roof was the shooter. Now, this reflects the comments from the governor, and as well as his comments, there's also video evidence of what appears to be a man crouching and running, several videos on this roof during that time, before and after the shooting, reportedly. And we can see that here.
Getting right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying?
Huh.
He just ran from over, where's my finger? Well, from over there, ran in, and now he's right there. Just saying, just.
There's already many theories, and even conspiracy theories coming out. Who killed him? Was it a professional? Was it just some crackpot? What exactly happened? Well, one theory that's starting to go around and really resurface is that Charlie was possibly afraid that Israel would take him out if he turned on them. Now, this rumor or theory is being backed by a tweet that Harrison Smith of the American Journal on InfoWars tweeted saying, I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them.
I wanted to make a video at least to talk a little bit about my tweet that's gone completely viral from last month. It's now the #1 tweet on anything Benjamin Netanyahu is posting. So thanks, guys. Really glad I'm on his radar now. That's cool. But it's true. I mean, I don't really have too much to add to it, honestly. I'm not going to say who it was that told me because they've asked me not to, kind of for obvious reasons. So if they want to go public, they're more than welcome to. I don't have much to add to it other than basically like a month ago, I watched an interview with Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk, and I thought they looked scared, and I commented on that, made a video out of it. And then like a day or so later, I was talking to this person, and the way I remember the conversation going was that we were just talking about sort of Israel and Zionism and Zionist influencers, and Charlie Kirk came up, and I remember the other person saying to me, well, you know, Charlie Kirk says he's afraid to go against Israel because he thinks they might kill him. And I said, that's crazy because I just made that video about how Charlie Kirk seems scared. That's crazy that you're saying that right now. And that's the way the conversation, I remember it going. It may have been the other way around. I may have said they look scared, and they said, well, you know, he says he thinks, you know, Israel will kill him for going against him. But then we talked about other stuff. You know, we moved on. I don't really have any more information other than that. You know, at the time I was thinking, you know, Charlie Kirk seems scared he's going to lose his sponsors, lose, you know, donors, something like that. I wasn't even thinking about losing his life. So that was my reaction. It was like, whoa, you know, I just made a video saying that, but I wasn't even thinking he was scared of dying. I thought he was scared of, you know, losing support, losing his position. So I really don't have anything else to say. I wish I did. I will, oh shit. Sorry. I will, I don't know. I'll take your calls on it tomorrow on American Journal, on InfoWars. But I wish I had more to say, but I really don't, about that topic. You know, I think the sad thing is, or the truth of the matter is, whoever they identify as the shooter is, you know, most people aren't going to think it's the shooter. So in a way, you know, the speculation was inevitable. I don't think my tweet was the thing that made people, you know, think that Israel could be behind this. I think there's a lot of other reasons. But obviously my tweet sort of frames it in a certain way that there is video backing up. But yeah, that's the whole story. You know, I don't really have anything else to add to it. I don't have any inside information, and honestly, one of the reasons I don't want to go live right now is because there's not a lot of information one way or the other. So I'll wait till tomorrow and cover it in the morning with everything out in front of me. But I should pray for Charlie Kirk's soul, pray for his family, and pray for America, man. We're entering into a very dangerous timeline, and you know, sort of the reason why, despite all of his shortcomings, you know, I still gotta root for Trump and support Trump and beg Trump to, you know, fulfill his mandate and do what's necessary, because if Democrats ever get back in power, they're going to go completely insane. They've been talking about it for a long time. The insanity of the left is really out of control. I mean, Antifa launched a like military style ambush of federal agents at an ICE facility in Texas like a month ago. They lit a fire to draw the agents out and then were stationed in hidden positions with rifles to fire at them. Do you know that happened in America like a month ago? I mean, the media literally does not cover left-wing violence, and it tries to cover it up if it can't help but cover it in the case of like school shootings, church shootings, which have been done multiple times in the very recent past by, you know, left-wing activists. Luigi Mangione, the support from the media of these figures, and then the politicians pretty much openly threatening that, like, if they get back in power again, they're going to be tyrannical. So we really have this very brief window of opportunity, and Trump has to do something. He has to do something drastic. I mean, what is there more to say? God bless Charlie Kirk, and we're going to keep his memory alive. And I think the only way to combat this is to make it abundantly clear that political assassinations backfire tremendously, and the person you target becomes a honored martyr. And if you thought you were getting rid of Charlie Kirk, I think Charlie Kirk's face should be on billboards and plastered on walls and posted under every leftist every day from now until eternity. I think we need to make it very clear that taking a shortcut like murder in the political realm is a decision you're going to regret. I think we need to make them regret it.
And this theory is possibly fueled by several things. One being when Charlie was on with Megyn Kelly, where they discussed the possibility that Epstein was a Mossad agent. And there's other possibilities. We can see those here.
Do you think there's any intel community involvement in this?
I wouldn't be surprised one bit. I am convinced, based on my own sources and my own reporting on this story, he wasn't one of ours.
So he was an American, which leads basically three options: MI6, Saudi, or Mossad.
Yep.
Which one would you choose?
I guess Mossad, given his connection to Ghislaine Maxwell.
So what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's possible that that's the reason everything's getting buried, that there is some treasure trove, and it's getting buried because...
How many people here believe that? Raise your hand. Okay, I'd say about half the hands think that it's being buried because of an Israeli thing.
It could be. I really don't know.
I have no evidence to suggest that.
No, me neither. I did think it was very odd how, look, half of you raised your hands because you've heard that theory, you've heard it debated, you have questions, but the one time Pam Bondi was asked a question about this at the cabinet meeting on Monday, she was like, and as for whether he was an agent, that I don't know. I haven't looked into that. I'll get back to you. You haven't looked into it? What do you mean? So that was kind of a fishy answer.
And Megan, remember Alexander Acosta in 2007, he said he was told to treat Epstein carefully because he was an intel asset. That was one of Trump's cabinet secretaries who was literally a U.S. attorney 3 hours from here in Florida. He said that himself.
Well, and let me tell you the consequences of that. His subpoena, his search warrant on Jeffrey Epstein's residence was very narrow. It was not the kind of like, let's get everything. Let's see everything inside this guy's, dressers and so on. It was very, very narrowly tailored. And to this day, that's what the FBI is stuck with. So it really is possible that Dan and Cash got in there and, in like a Geraldo and Al Capone's vault situation, opened it up and we're like, oh my gosh, there's nothing in here. Like, we did not find the magic documents or photos or evidence of anything. And why not? I don't know we'll ever know why not. I'm not sure we'll ever know, but...
And one thing a friend said to me, interestingly, which is, okay, Charlie, we've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, so like maybe we should also ask a question: is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be, and how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing?
So ethnic cleansing, the idea, presumably, that population movement is...
Question on this, Ben, I know this might be a tougher question, but Bibi said, quote, I didn't like how he said this, I'll be honest. You can't be MAGA if you're anti-Israel. I don't like it for a couple reasons. How did you analyze that statement from Bibi?
I mean, and I think that there is the ungenerous way of interpreting that and then the generous way of interpreting that. So the ungenerous way is...
And some Ukrainian influencers have also started to chime in, some not so nicely. Here we can see Richard Woodruff on Twitter said, fuck it, I'm happy to lose my entire follower base over this. Charlie Kirk literally spread Russian propaganda at every turn. His aim was to convince you that millions of Ukrainians in occupied territories should be genocided, and you are telling me I should be sympathetic? No, he didn't want to see genocide in these regions, that's for sure. Now, let's look at some of the other things some Ukrainians are saying. And here we can see some screenshots of Ukrainian Telegram groups where they comment on the situation. Finally, damn uncertainty is over. Glory to God, it happens. He's dead. That fucker shouldn't have spoken against Leninsky. This is how it should be for everyone who talks trash about Ukraine. Now it's Trump's turn. Best post he ever made. And they're referring to the post Trump made of confirming that Kirk was killed. And others simply wrote, glory to God, ura. But at the same time, in these same groups, normal people, normal Ukrainians, said that they didn't agree with his politics, and they called these people that were celebrating his death animals. And Fox News brought on a former FBI agent that, in his professional opinion, said that the shooter was not just some crackpot, but a professional assassin that assassinated Charlie, making it up on the roof well in advance, preparing himself to make a headshot that totally incapacitated immediately Charlie Kirk. Well, a neck shot in his case, unfortunately. And this is after this former FBI agent analyzed the video. So this shows, again, someone getting up on a roof and taking a shot at a political figure. We've seen this before, right? So how does it keep happening?
Well, when you take a look at the video and you take a look at the venue and the spectators and how close they are to Charlie Kirk, and then you have that kind of like umbrella over him, that kind of tent, you have to know that this shooter had to be perched in a position with respect to being able to lay his sights perfectly, basically a headshot. And the shot that was taken to immediately incapacitate Charlie Kirk. And so this was not some amateur who just, got up on a rooftop because it was, what I consider spontaneous combustion. He got up this morning and decided he was going to do something crazy. This seems the earmark of a professional that got up onto this rooftop well in advance of the venue being occupied by the spectators. He was clearly undetected. There was no indication that anybody saw him up on this rooftop. Obviously, after that one single shot was taken, he was able to basically very quietly and systematically elude any further detection and escape. There's been no indication that there's been a vehicle identified.
And why would the Ukrainians turn against him? Well, let's see what he had to say to Zelensky over Twitter or X. We do not support you. Show some respect next time. You are an ungrateful child who is responsible for 1 million dead. Now, this comes after the embarrassment at the Oval Office, where basically Zelensky was put in his place by Trump and the vice president. And MSNBC just embarrassed themselves on the air after the shooting. Matthew Dow came out and said that maybe it was a supporter of his firing a gun in celebration. Come on, give me a break. You watch the clip, see what you have to say. Comment below what you think.
Immediately afterwards, Matthew Dowd on MSNBC said it was probably a fan who didn't know how to handle his gun.
We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea.
Oh, and then it got worse. MSNBC said Charlie deserved to die.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this. who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech. You can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
MSNBC has already apologized, but Dowd should be fired immediately because it's traitors like that who make it easier to get murdered.
And today, Trump and the White House officially state that Democrats are for crime. What is the country coming to now? And let's not forget that today is the 24th anniversary of 9/11, the attacks on the World Trade Center and Washington. Let's also keep that in mind. And now we've got a terrorist act, an assassination on our soil today. Well, yesterday. The shooter is still at large as of the filming of this, September 11th, 2025. Will he be captured? We don't know. But the FBI and other authorities are giving a plea to the public for information. Right now, the investigation is reviewing security footage from the campus, which there's got to be a lot of cameras on the campus to go through, a lot of footage. So we'll see what the outcome is, but there is no suspect in custody right now. There were 2 arrested and released, or detained and released, but no one now. Kind of weird how he got away so quickly. But as the FBI agent said, he is a professional, whoever did this. This has been a direct attack on freedom of speech. There's no question about it. And unfortunately, Charlie was a casualty of it. But I'm not going to let this affect how I work. I mean, I've had death threats, hundreds of death threats, if not in the thousands. And it's horrible that we have to live in a world like this. But hopefully things will get better. Maybe things are on the right track. We'll see. But no question, an attack on freedom of speech. And the world, and the country should band together against this attack and say, we're not going to let this affect our freedom of speech. I mean, he was killed because of what he had to say. There's no question about that. The only question is who had him killed? Who killed him? Will we ever know? Really? Like other people have been killed and we never know. Will those files ever be released? So I'm not going to let it affect me. There was something when I started this video, I wasn't going to talk about this. I wasn't going to go into what I had lined up for today's video. But you know what? And fuck that. I'm not going to let them dictate what goes in my report. I'm going to talk to you about what I think you deserve to see, what might be able to help you for you to learn or even help your family. And right now, the world's changing. There's tariffs on almost everything from Trump. The dollar is dropping. The gold price is at an all-time high. Silver is up there as well. Now, the gold price could be triggered by the fact that Trump has said there will not be tariffs on gold. And it seems that investors are seeing that and going in because they understand how the market works. If everything's getting tariffed, there's something that's not, well, you probably want to invest in that. And many of you know that I'm all about family and all about supporting my family, and every man should do that. And that's why I want to talk to you about a junior gold exploration company, Western Star Resources, that is a publicly traded company. And it's almost like the best of two worlds. It's not directly investing into cold, hard gold that the price is at an all-time high, but investing into the stocks of this publicly traded company that seems set for a real breakout as their junior in this bull market. And with all the talks of peace, will the war be over? Will it not be over? What's going to happen? These are what makes world instability a trigger for investments like gold exploration companies to increase. But who knows what's going to happen in the near future. And the fact is, during these times, gold has traditionally been a long-term store of value, and the exploration companies benefit from this. And right now, they are a Canadian-based company. But it makes sense, and there's rumors that they might be moving business into the US and opening up there. Now, this would, of course, trigger a rise in price, but that's just opinion-based and rumor-based, not based on facts at all. But it's a possibility. Of course, do your own research. This isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. This isn't real investing in the stock market, and you should know what you're doing. I bring you things that I think you might benefit from, your family might benefit from, whether it's learning information on the front line that they're not going to see in other areas in Western mainstream media, or learning about this investing opportunity. I mean, big thanks to Western Star Resources for sponsoring this video. Of course, it's a sponsored video, but I don't just go do a one-off. If you watch my other reports, you know I don't do just a one-off advertisement shill, whatever is thrown my way. I look deep into the company. Every chance I get, I'll interview the CEO of the company, which I'm working on it now for Western Star Resources. I think that's coming. Looking forward to it. But, I show you things aren't in the media, aren't in the Western mainstream media. And this isn't yet. But by the time this company is in the media, it's probably going to be too late to make a big gain. So, buy low, sell high is how the stock market works, So it is what it is. And I'm going to keep on it. Hopefully we'll get that interview with the CEO. If I hear anything about the business moves, I'll continue to let you know. I'm not just, again, going to shill something and, go off to the next video game like most YouTubers do. I'm here for you. And, of course, this has been a horrible report here to do. But, I'm not going to let somebody control my freedom of speech. And no one should. Think for yourself, speak for yourself. Don't let fear and terrorism affect what you do in your life. Keep going. Push, fight. And we're going to continue on. Stick with me for my reports. This is a little bit of a one-off report here. It's, when I saw the different possibilities of what really happened to Charlie, I thought I should put my 2 cents in and you wouldn't get this somewhere else. I mean, it's, because it was clear yesterday, the shooter's in custody. Then he wasn't. So, you comment below what you think. It's really out there. And of course, some of you might say, why'd you put a sponsored video in? I told you, I'm not going to let somebody control what I do. Hold down my freedom of speech. And you shouldn't either. So let's continue on. Please like, share, subscribe. And also go over and subscribe to my Substack. The link's in the description. We got a lot to do. A lot of reports coming on the front line. I risk my life every day for you. So let's continue on.